Yesterday, I was looking at buying a drone on DJI's website when I noticed something that looked oddly familiar. The colors, the fonts, the formats. Don't get me wrong, it looked amazing, but I felt like I'd seen it before. It wasn't Amazon, it wasn't American Airlines, it was Apple. So let me break down why a successful company like DJI that's bringing in billions of dollars a year gets away with stealing Apple's website. And if you're new here, my name is Evan. It's awesome to meet you. I make 2 videos just like this every single week. So if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. So for those who aren't familiar with DJI, they are pretty much the face of the drone industry today. From the Phantom to the Mavic, when you think about a drone, you're probably picturing a DJI drone. So DJI is a Chinese company founded in 2006 by a man named Frank Wang. Okay, listen to this. They did $30.6 billion in sales last year, and almost all of that was drone sales. To put it in perspective, they account for 76% of the world's consumer drone market. Basically, they create drones that are affordable, but also the highest quality possible. They also create other products like gimbals and phone accessories. And from a product perspective, they're easily the best at everything they do. But I believe a lot of people didn't actually know that they were a Chinese company until 2017. That was when the United States Department of Defense was banned from using DJI drone products due to concerns about cybersecurity and DJI spying on the United States. They've also been blacklisted by the United States Department of Commerce because their technology has been used in the Chinese Uyghur re-education camps. There are plenty of other concerns out there about DJI, and by making this video, I'm pretty sure that I just took myself off the list to ever get a brand deal with them. But the point that I'm trying to make is that most of the concerns about DJI are because they're a Chinese company. And this also explains why they've been able to get away with stealing Apple's website. And even when you take a look at DJI's product photos and their packaging, you can clearly see that so much of what they call their brand has been modeled after Apple. A big part of why China's technological and economic growth has been accelerated so much over the last 20 to 30 years is because they've built so much of it off of other people's ideas. They haven't had strict copyright laws, or at the very least enforced copyright laws, and they don't hold the same plagiarism standard that exists in the United States. When I was in high school, I actually had a lot of close friends who were international students from China. And I remember multiple times them asking me a bunch of questions about plagiarism and how to cite sources properly. Because going to school in China, it was totally acceptable to take other people's ideas and then write about them as if they were your own. So the lack of enforced intellectual property laws has allowed China and Chinese companies to succeed in ways that, a lot of Western countries wouldn't be able to. They can just skip the entire innovation and creation process and just start with the finished product. So what's funny though is that now we're in 2023 and China has the second largest economy in the world. And as a result, they've been forced to actually start enforcing these copyright laws. In fact, in 2016, there were more patent applications in China than the United States, Japan, South Korea, and the European Union combined. I've also had people tell me that it's actually easier right now to start a business in China than it is in the United States. Now, if you're in the United States and you're to copy someone else's website, you're probably infringing on their trademark. Here's what LegalVision.com had to say about it. If you copy someone else's website, you run the risk that you may infringe their trademark and face a potential court claim. You should not copy any part of another website and ensure that your website only contains your unique content. Now, you might be asking the question, what can Apple actually do about this? I will say there could be some sort of secret partnership between Apple and DJI that I don't know about, because I was looking online and at one point, Apple's European store sold a couple of DJI products, but they don't sell them right now. Also, I've heard that sometimes Apple will carry their products in store. But even then, Apple has worked with so many different companies, so why would they make an exception for DJI to just steal their website? One reason is that it could be really difficult for Apple to sue DJI. I mean, Apple is an American company made in California, and DJI is a Chinese company. I actually remember one time, one of my good friends who's from China, he pulled out his phone, and I was convinced that it was an iPhone. I mean, the outside looked the same. The iOS was identical. And he was telling me that he paid like $100 for the phone in China because it was just totally normal for there to be an American product sold so much cheaper there, even though all the technology was stolen. And I know that this doesn't just happen in China, it happens in a lot of different countries, but It comes to our attention way more often just because, like I mentioned, China is the second largest economy in the world. They have a booming economy, and it's also pretty easy to steal from successful American companies. I mean, we make almost everything we have in China. And ultimately, with this situation, if Apple were to try to sue them, they would have to ask the question, is it even worth their time, their money, their resources? Because, you know, this would be an international lawsuit on a giant level, because I'm sure that DJI would have top-notch lawyers as well. But a big part of that, though, is because DJI has made literally the greatest product in their category in the world. They have the best video drones out there, and literally the competition is nowhere near them. I recently read the book 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, and he talks about the ideas that take someone from 0 to 1. How do you start with no idea, and how do you create that first idea that can then grow and expand? Something though that he talks about is how the greatest innovators are thinking in terms of how can I create a product so great that it'll turn into a monopoly. And that's exactly what DJI has done. Yes, there are other successful drones on the market, but I mean, DJI absolutely blows them all out of the water. There's nothing that flies like their drones, that looks like their drones, that's as affordable as their drones. They're definitely not a monopoly, but they have built an amazing product. Just one quick piece of advice before you go. Don't try to steal Apple's website. It is not gonna end well. And don't try to steal anyone else's website either.